is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going to check out the video. What's good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. Today we're going to talk about the Miami Heat after Dwayne Wade signed his extension to come back. Well, signed the contract to come back one more season. I was like, well, if Dwayne Wade gonna come back to Miami, might as well do Miami, which I haven't done yet in the What to Expect series. So, they best player in franchise history re-sign. Might as well cover the team and what I predict that they gonna do this year. Now, Miami is one of them teams that everybody respects. They hard working, they're gritty, they're grindy, they're smart, they're well coached. They can very well out execute you. They're not going to give in. They're not going to give up. They're going to keep swinging. And this is a team that if you underestimate or you come in lazy or you don't really expect that much out of them, they can blow you out. They can beat you in the fourth quarter. They can close out a lot of close games. They had a lot of injuries the last couple years. They was able to make the playoffs last year. They was actually able to win the game against a higher seed. And even though this team hasn't really made any huge roster moves or any significant moves that really ups or drops them down, this team is still going to be a competitive team. Whether they make the playoffs or not, this is going to be one of them teams that you may not circle down, but if you come in sleeping or come in trying to do just enough to win, this team is going to go out there and beat you. This team can definitely win 40 games like they did last year because of the coaches, because they have enough talent. Goran Dragic was an all-star last year. Let's not forget that. Hassan Whiteside has been in and out. His mind hasn't been focused on basketball. He hasn't been the guy that they thought he would be. He had that huge potential the first couple seasons. Obviously, it didn't really work out that well because he hasn't played to that level since he got the contract extension, which sucks because he's on one of the harder contracts to trade since he's not playing with a lot of effort, a lot of energy, a lot of fight, and he's not dominating defensively like he once was before he got the contract. He did enough to prove himself, and after he proved himself, he never really became much more than a starting level center, and that hurts them because they really banked on him. They really needed him to continue to be on that level if they really wanted a chance to continue to grow. And after giving him that huge contract extension, they don't have as much wiggle room to really make another trade unless it's getting rid of him so they can get somebody else, or even getting rid of him for cap space and using it to get another free agent to go with the rest of their core. But after committing that money and people know that you want to get off him, they can lowball you, and they don't really want him anyway because how his play been, and he's been so unfocused and so unenthused, and he just basically just, I don't know what happened to the guy. I seen him at Summer League, but when he had that season, I didn't really expect him to play like this. He basically seemed like he's not happy with Miami. And if you're going to play like that with the Heat, a lot of teams are going to trade for you or even want to sign you if you give up on a team that paid you the most money and you don't even play the same effort and energy wise, or don't even care about dominating the rebounds. He don't care about getting blocks. He doesn't stay on the court long enough. He's always whining. So he's not really making a good image for himself, and this could really derail and hurt his career a whole lot when you look at the bigger picture when he becomes a free agent. If he's gonna play like this and have his mentality, he's damaging his own trade value and he's damaging his future value. Yeah, he might make enough money to be good set for life if he invested and take care of his money, but when it comes to his NBA career, it can be as good as over after he leaves Miami unless somebody picks him up just for his size and mobility. Other than that, he's outdated. He can't shoot threes. He can't shoot mid-range. He doesn't dominate on the board, doesn't dominate defensively anymore, and he's basically weak on the switches too. He used to be decent, but now teams just take advantage of switching to Hassan Whiteside and doing whatever you want. Now, even in the inside, people were like Joel Embiid and just embarrass him. He was supposed to be this next big generation defensive player of the year type of center, and now he's just a guy that everybody just dominates, whether it's Jokic, whether it's Joel Embiid, or whether it's even Nurkic. Everybody's getting the best of Hassan Whiteside at this point, and that's something that we didn't see when he first came into the league, when he first came back to the Heat. But now he's just another player in the league that's getting paid like a superstar, but he wasn't able to live up to that. Obviously, the best part about it is they do have Bam, a guy that's 21 years old, 255 pounds. He's athletic, he's mobile, and I do want to see his growth in the development. I can't really say much about him because he didn't really get significant minutes in parts of the season. But, I want to see him continue to build upon the season that he has had. And he does look like an interesting prospect, and he does look like he can be a potential starting center for this team, especially as they continue to try to get rid of Hassan Whiteside or wait till his contract expires. They don't really have to go look for a big because Bam can very ready develop into that franchise center for them. Maybe not a franchise center dominant wise, but he can be a solid center until they can find that next guy, or maybe he can develop into being a franchise center because he's only 21 and he came into the NBA very raw. He had a lot of development he needed to do, but they're not rushing him to be a dominant center right now. But also, we still want to see major improvements because with that team, with Mickey Harris and Pat Riley, they really want to get the best out of you. They really want you to be really in shape, and they really want you to cut out that body fat. So maybe he can, get his body right, get ready, get used to the minutes, getting used to the playing time, the physicality, and the speed in the minutes of the game, and maybe he can build upon the season that he had last year, which was decent. But we expect more for him based off the season he just had. Goran Dragic had his first All-Star season. He was one of the best point guards in the league, never to make an All-Star team, up there with the Mike Conleys and stuff like that. But he finally made it, so that's something that he has on his resume. He did help the Heat make it to the playoffs without Dwayne Wade because he missed majority of the season. But when he came back, he was able to help this team make it to the playoffs and win a game against the Sixers. So Dwayne Wade is coming back. It is good to see him back. It is good to see their best player ever at age 36, about to be 37, really try to help this team for another year and really bring that veteran mentality, that professional mentality, that helping mentality to really get them to where they want to go, hopefully, in the next couple seasons. But it's another year that he can help Dion Waiters, Justice Winslow, guys like, obviously, Josh Richardson and other guys on his team to really develop, and hopefully he can speed up their process. And you do have guys like Derrick Jones Jr. too that can, use a little bit more polishing and a little bit more versatility to his game. You can even say the same thing about Tyler Johnson, who they gave $19 million to. They really wanted to hold on to him. Now he's one of their highest paid players, and he can play either guard position, but he hasn't really excelled at anything. So right now they got a lot of prospects and a lot of good veterans on this roster, but they do not have a superstar on this roster. I think Gordon Hayward at $18 million is good, considering that he's only 32 and he still can play. Obviously, he was an all-star, but having guys like Wayne Ellington, guys like Josh Richardson and Justice Winslow, and obviously guys like Malik Newman and stuff on his team, you do have some interesting prospects that can possibly develop into a third or a fourth option on a championship team, and they can play defense too. And they hopefully can become solid three-point shooters consistently to really give them that versatility to lock up that 2 and 3 position, which is the wing positions. They have the size, they have the length to play those positions, and they really can, if they can develop and really become something better, we will never really know how good this team will be until they do get that guy that can really build the franchise around like Dwayne Wade was for them. But until then, they have a solid point guard. They have solid wings that's still developing, and they have decent outside shooters like Wayne Ellington. So at the end of the day, they're not really missing too much. Obviously, Hassan Whiteside, like I said, has been in and out mentally. He has to go. And he wasn't really what they thought. You have Kelly Olynyk, a guy that can post up, hit threes, hit mid-range jumper, roll to the basket, stop and pop, even trail three. So he's a versatile guy that can play multiple positions, whether it's the 4 or the 5, and add that floor spacing for Dwayne Wade, for Josh Richardson, Winslow, and Goran Dragic. And they need that type of player, and it's good to have a guy that can give you some type of versatility, whether he's playing with Hassan Whiteside or taking a spot at the center position. It do give them some flexibility. Other than that, this roster is very mediocre at best. Like I said, they do have a lot of young prospects, but none of them show superstar potential. Obviously, we all thought that Justice Winslow would be the steal of the draft. He would be one of the biggest steals. Everybody was making a big deal about it. Everybody was going crazy. He hasn't really lived up to the hype, and his minutes actually got cut, which is surprising because they drafted him in the top 10. Um, the worst part about this team is that they're good enough to make the playoffs, not good enough to too good to make a top 10 pick. Also, not bad enough to get a top 10 pick, while also not having that franchise guy and not being good enough to compete for a championship. But they do have some young, interesting pieces. And if they do get a solid draft pick with the pieces, maybe they move one of them to try to get one of them superstars them stars that's not happy and try to pair them with Goran Dragic. Or maybe, they eventually, go into a decent rebuild mode and try to draft that guy that they thought Bam and Justice would be. But until then, this team is stuck in mediocrity. I think they will be good enough to fight for another sixth, seventh, or eighth seed in the East. The East is you have the Chicago Bulls, you have the Detroit Pistons, you obviously have teams like the Charlotte Hornets, and those teams are going to be very well competing for that six, seven, and eight spot. You have teams that's going to definitely make it, like the Raptors, like the Sixers, like the Celtics, like the Milwaukee Bucks and the Washington Wizards. But that six, seven, and eight spot will be open to the Bulls, to the Pistons, obviously to the Hornets, going to have a chance, and obviously the Miami Heat. I don't really see the Knicks or the Nets really being in that. The Cavaliers probably could surprise people, but I doubt they have enough offense and defense to really make a run for the playoffs. But like I said, I do believe those top five spots are locked in the East because they're so top heavy. But other than that, the last three spots, that 6, 7, 8, 9 is all. There's going to be at least 5 teams running for those spots, especially at the trade deadline. Somebody can see a chance to make the playoffs and make a move to really solidify that top 6 spot. And the Miami Heat can be one of them teams that can do that. Pat Riley has been a great GM, helping them win multiple championships and bringing in superstars like Chris Bosh and obviously Shaq and LeBron James. And he has been able to draft a guy like Dwayne Wade, who became the guy that brought Shaq, LeBron, and Chris Bosh to this team, and Goran Dragic. And he helped actually persuade Chris Bosh to re-sign before he went out with the blood clot. So Pat Riley knows what he's doing. He's staying patient. He's keeping some solid players on his team, some solid, decent, role players too on his team, and he still have Goran Dragic. The only mistake that he really made was signing his Whiteside so far. But I can't really blame him that much because the way he was playing, you have to give him that money because you don't want to lose him, especially after giving him no opportunities to develop. But it just blew up in his face, and it's a risk and it's a gamble when you give somebody a contract, and that was one that failed so far. But Hassan Whiteside can probably be motivated. He probably could want to change his career. He probably want to change his perception, and he probably has enough pride to really go out there and fight to become one of the best centers again this year. Or then again, he can't have the same season that he had the last 2 years, which has been disappointing. And he did get injured a couple times, so that does factor in too. But let me know, do you think this team will be 6? Do you think this team will be 7? Do you think this team will be 8? Do you think they'd be top 5? Do you think this team going to miss the playoffs, be a 9th or a 10th seed? 9th or 10th in the league, racing for the playoffs, but coming up short? Or do you think they got Spo? They got enough talent that they should be able to compete in the weak East and at least make one of those top 7, top 8 playoff spot at the end of the day? Let me know in the comment section below. Check out my website at analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description, comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description, comment section below. Also, check out my spread shirt. There you can buy t-shirts, sweaters, and hoodies. Also, mouse pad, pillowcases, water bottles, whatever, with my brand and logo on it. Thanks for the support, for subscribing, liking, and watching the videos consistently. Thanks for checking out my Facebook and my website, and also buying the merchandise. I love the support. The channel is still growing, it's still developing, and I'm still going strong after all these years. I don't plan on stopping. So let me know what you guys want to see, what team you want to see next, or you want to continue letting me pick out which one I want to do. And if you're a Miami Heat fan, I do have the Heat making the playoffs. I do have them losing in the first round. I can see them getting to the second round, depending on if they do make a move by the trade deadline or getting the right matchup. They possibly could get out of the first round, but I think that they will be another first round exit. They just don't have enough to compete in that top 6 or even in that 7 and 8 spot. If they can get a higher seed, then I can definitely see them getting out of the first round. But if they get that bottom 6, 7, 8 that I think they will get, I definitely think they'd be a first round exit. Sorry, that's just how I personally feel. But the Heat fans, I think they feel the same, because when you look at this roster, it's good enough, but it's not dominant. They don't have a really dominant player. They don't really have a guy that consistently take over games in series. They just don't have that guy right now. So it's unfortunate, but they do have some young tradable assets, and if they can get a bad record, worst case scenario, they can package that pick into one of these players and try to get a star, or at least move up in the draft to get a top 5, top 10 pick, which can possibly bring them a superstar that they're trying to get, or maybe Justice Winslow, Josh Richardson, or Bam becomes that other all-star caliber player because of how they work out this offseason. Or maybe, you just never know. They just be bad or get an injury that can hurt them so much that they miss the playoffs and they get a top 10 pick anyway. So let me know what you guys think. What you guys think they'll do, your predictions, and do you think they're going to make the playoffs or not? I'm gone.